Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Before we begin today's daily quiz session, please join us in sharing our condolences with the families of all the brave hearts who lost their lives yesterday in the unfortunate helicopter crash in Tamil Nadu. Before we begin the quiz today, we have an important announcement that is about the upcoming Byju's National Scholarship Test. This is your chance to win up to 90% scholarship for Byju's IAS courses. The test will be conducted on 12th of December 2021 at 11 a.m. The last date and time to register is 11th of December 6 p.m. Saturday. The link for registration will be given in the description of this video. Question number 1 of today's quiz is this. Consider the following statements with regards to the Ken-Betwa River Interlinking Project. Number 1. Ken and Betwa rivers originate in Madhya Pradesh and are the tributaries of Yamuna. Second, the Ken-Betwa Link Project is a river interlinking project that aims to transfer surplus water from the Betwa River in UP to Ken River in Madhya Pradesh to irrigate the drought-prone Bundelkhand region. Third, the Ken River passes through the Panna Tiger Reserve. Which of these given statements is or are correct? The correct answer here is C. First and the third statements are correct. The second statement is wrong because as per the interlinking project, surplus water from the Ken River will be transferred to the Betwa River. So it is the other way around as compared to what is written in the second statement. The reason why we are discussing this question is because the cabinet has finally given the go-ahead for the Ken-Betwa Link project that has been in talks for many years now. One of the reasons why the project was being delayed was because the Ken River passes through the Panna Tiger Reserve and this interlinking project will result in submerging of a significant portion of the Panna Tiger Reserve. That is why a lot of environmentalists were against this particular project. However, the government has finally decided to go ahead with it. As the article tells you, the project involves transferring of water from Ken River to Betwa River through the construction of Dodhan Dam and a canal linking the two rivers. The project will provide drinking water to almost 62 lakh people and generate over 100 megawatts of hydropower and 27 megawatts of solar power, which will be helpful for both the states. As I said, the project has been in talks for multiple years now, but has finally received the go-ahead. Question number 2. Which amongst the following appliances must have the BEE energy rating label mandatorily under the Indian law? Color TVs, electric geyser, tubular fluorescent, and room air conditioners. The correct answer here is D. All these appliances are in the list of those that must have a star energy rating if they are being retailed in the market under the Indian law. The reason why we are discussing this question is because the government has kick-started the celebrations of Energy Conservation Week under the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav event. Under this, the BEE, which stands for Bureau for Energy Efficiency under the Ministry of Power, has organized national level painting competition, National Energy Conservation Awards, and much more. As you would know, BEE is a statutory body under the Government of India that was set up in the year 2002 under the Energy Conservation Act. As the name suggests, the BEE is responsible for taking measures to reduce energy intensity of the Indian economy. Question number 3. Consider the following statements with regards to the recently passed Assisted Reproductive Technology, that is ART Bill 2020. Number 1. The bill provides that every ART clinic and bank must be registered under the National Registry of Banks and Clinics of India. Second, the registration will be valid for 5 years and can be renewed for a further 5 years. Third, a bank can obtain semen from males between 21 and 55 years of age and oocytes from females between 23 and 35 years of age. Fourth, the women can donate oocyte only once in her life and not more than 7 oocytes can be retrieved from her. Which of these given statements is or are correct? The correct answer here is D. All the four given statements are correct with respect to the ART bill that was just passed in the Rajya Sabha yesterday. In fact, the ART and the surrogacy bills were passed in the Rajya Sabha. We had discussed about this bill a few days back in one of the sessions of comprehensive news analysis. Under this bill, national board and state boards apart from the national registry to regulate ART clinics will be set up in the country. We did discuss the fact that this bill does not cover single men and the LGBTQ individuals. That is why the bill has been at the center of controversy as well. ART is used to treat infertility and includes fertility treatments that handle both women's egg and a man's sperm. It works by removing the eggs from a woman's body and mixing them with the sperm to make embryos. Question number 4. Which of the following is not true with regards to UPI, that is a Unified Payments Interface? Number 1. It is an advanced version of Immediate Payment Service, that is IMPS, round the clock funds transfer service to make cashless payments faster, easier, and smoother. Second, UPI is a system that powers multiple bank accounts into a single mobile application of any participating bank, merges several banking features, seamless fund routing, and merchant payments into one hood. Third, the RBI launched UPI with 21 member banks in 2014. And fourth, the user doesn't have to pay any fee for the UPI transactions. The correct answer here is C, since you had to tell which of these is not true. That is, the UPI was launched by NPCI, the National Payment Corporation of India, which is an RBI division. So RBI part may still be correct, but the year that is given here is wrong. UPI was launched in 2016 and not in 2014 by the NPCI. All the other three given statements are true. The reason why we are asking this question is because of this news in the Hindu newspaper today, according to which the RBI is now planning to extend the UPI feature to feature phones as well. As you know, till now, to use a UPI, you needed to have a smartphone, but now non-smartphone, only feature phone users can also use a UPI transaction, which will further increase the accessibility of UPI and make it a part of our day-to-day lives. Next is a previous year question from year 2019. Under which schedule of the Constitution of India can the transfer of tribal land to private parties for mining be declared null and void? Third schedule, fifth schedule, ninth schedule, or the 12th schedule? The correct answer here is the fifth schedule, which has been made to ensure that the tribal areas and their culture is preserved from outside interference. As you know, the third schedule of the Indian Constitution contains oath and affirmations for posts such as the Union Ministers of India, the Members of Parliament, the Supreme Court judges, CAG, High Court judges, etc. The ninth schedule, on the other hand, was introduced by the first constitutional amendment to provide judicial immunity mainly to laws related to land reforms introduced by the government. The 12th schedule, as you would know, deals with provisions that talk about authority, power, and the responsibilities that can be given to the municipalities. Thus, the correct answer here is the fifth schedule that tries to preserve the tribal autonomy, their culture, and economic empowerment of that particular region. Time now to discuss a fact of the day, and today we will be discussing about the changing nature of civil servants in India. The Hindu newspaper today gives a very important insight into the changing nature of people who are entering the coveted civil services like yourself. The first major takeaway is that the average age of people entering the civil services in India is on a rise. In 2020, the average age of an Indian entering the civil services has become 27.4, although it is slightly lower than the 2007 average of 28.2. There are two implications of this. Number one, people who enter at a much younger age have a much higher chance of going till the top post such as a cabinet secretary. Second, this rise in the average age is because the maximum age up till you are allowed to give the exam has been increasing and has now reached 32 for the general category students. Earlier, when the maximum allowed age used to be lesser, the average age of the people entering the services also used to be much lesser. The second interesting phenomena is the regional disparity amongst those who are entering the civil services. Till the decade of the 2000s, the civil services were predominantly dominated by candidates from southern part of the country. But now, in the last decade or so, candidates from the north part of the country make up most of the people entering the civil services. While the participation from central India has remained the same, participation from eastern part of the country has declined considerably over the past couple of decades. Between the decade of 2010 and 2019, north and south regions together contributed for 55% of the total recruits, while the regions lacking far behind are northeast and the western part of the country. One silver lining amongst this is the increasing participation of females in this examination, as compared to the 1950s, where female IAS officers were only 2.7% of the total recruits. The total number of female officers has been on an increase and have now reached over 30% of the total recruits, which is a very positive sign for the Indian bureaucracy. Another data point here is the background of the candidates who have been successful in clearing this examination. The number of students who are from STEM background, STEM here stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which includes MBBS also. The number of students from the STEM background in 2020 have reached almost 80%, meaning that students coming from non-science backgrounds have reduced drastically, which is why you see a lot of protest from non-science background students over the past few years about changing pattern of this examination. This is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.